Part 2, you will hear a tour guide giving a talk about Lower Farm. First, you will have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Good morning. I'm delighted to see so many of you here. I hope you'll all enjoy the guided walk around the farm and that you'll come back to join in some of the other activities, too. My name's Julia, and I'll tell you all about the farm and the trust that owns it. The farm is called Lower Farm, and it's been in the Cartwright family for over 100 years. John Cartwright, the current owner, runs it, and his wife, Alice, looks after the farm shop. We'll visit the dairy section, where they produce a variety of cheeses and yogurts using milk from their cows. Then we'll move to the orchard, where you can see rows of apple trees and even try your hand at picking some fresh fruit. Unfortunately, the livestock area won't be included in the tour today due to ongoing maintenance, but if you come back next week, this area will be open again. Lower Farm was set up in 1978 to help protect the countryside in this area, and it aims to preserve the local wildlife by encouraging farmers to use traditional methods. These methods have also played a vital role in protecting a threatened bird species, the kakapo. By avoiding the use of pesticides, kakapos could safely build their nests and raise the young, without the risk of chemical exposure. In the future, the farm also aims to provide more food sources for the kakapos during winter, so that they don't have to travel long distances in freezing cold temperatures, often leading to a decline in their population. But the kakapo is just one out of many farmland birds that face challenges in surviving. The decline in farmland birds around the world can be due to many reasons, including climate change, as the weather becomes either too hot or too cold for their survival, and hunting. However, the main factor, as research suggests, is the loss of habitat. Over the years, modern farming techniques have drastically changed the natural landscape, leaving the birds with fewer places to find food or shelter. That's why, to the left of the dairy section, there's a large field. We intend to use it to build a bird reserve, right here in Lower Farm. What will it be called, you ask? We considered naming it after the farm's original owner, Joseph Cartwright. However, it was his wife, Barbara, an avid birdwatcher, that came up with this idea. So, after much deliberation, we decided to honor her by naming the reserve after her. We chose her nickname, Barra, as it is easier to pronounce. And here's another new development. We are planting new hedges along the edges of fields. In collaboration with New Zealand's Agriculture Department, experts will be visiting us to provide recommendations on how we can use these hedges to attract more wildlife, particularly birds and insects. We've also agreed to let experts collect soil samples for further analysis. However, due to insufficient funding, that plan will be paused for now. Finally, if you'd like to take a walk along the river, feel free to do so. But please be aware that the riverbank is quite soft and muddy, so you might want to roll up your trousers to keep them clean. Of course, you can take off your shoes and walk barefoot, but do keep in mind that your feet will likely get quite dirty, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you'll have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
As some of you may know, the Lower Farm project was established with the help of several funding sources, each contributing in different ways. Initially, there was some support from the New Zealand Wildlife Trust, which provided small grants annually. Although these funds were quite limited, their thoughtful advice and guidance have proven to be truly invaluable. Similarly, the government showed interest in the project, but their involvement focused more on policymaking rather than direct financial support. The project's main funding, however, came from the sale of farm produce, which helped us fund various activities. Additionally, the local council stepped in with significant financial assistance once they recognized the farm's efforts to preserve the countryside and promote ecotourism in the area. This funding played a crucial role in covering operational costs and efforts to protect wildlife. Finally, while donations from tourists visiting the farm have been helpful, and it's by all means a very large amount, they only account for a small portion of the overall funding, as we mostly only receive tourists in spring and summer. The majority of tourists who visit us hail from Asia, with countries like China and Japan being top contributors. These visitors are often interested in our local farming methods and wildlife conservation efforts. We also get a significant number of tourists from North America, particularly the United States and Canada. While we do see some visitors from Europe, the numbers are smaller compared. Tourists from South America are also quite rare. Interestingly, while we are located in this part of the world, visitors from New Zealand and Australia don't make up a large percentage of our tourists either. Many locals and nearby residents don't see it as a priority destination, though we are working to change that. Edited at 0:40.
That is the end of part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 2.